Marienbad My Love, in the ruins of the dreams and beliefs of a Christian-haunted journalist turned filmmaker exiled on a deserted island, attempting to persuade a mad woman from his past to help him produce science-themed sequel to the 90s French wave classic last year, an act of artistic creation to bring about the death of time, the birth of a new religion, if only he can make her remain in him inside his cellular void. Dark a vine straying the pulpit of moths, consuming the flesh, an important disguise. So many people who appear to be really dead inside filming requited love. He searches for a way out of his prison off the forsaken, and he calls Marienbad in the ruins of his dream, a place lost in space and time, a place of mute beaches where steps are lost upon so profound, so deep that one perceives stepping up eastern heavens, the incredible sight of a clock dial bleeding through the thin cobalt, a psychic contrail suspended in the high, thin stratosphere, sire cloud time, manifestation into the gut, but kept secret from the populace, decloaked clock that may be ship, or perhaps sign from the deity, his divine pocket watch wandering through unseen territory of winged demon, ill creature bearing branded, mutated ghost part, decaying metallic reek, bankrupt snakes, corroded and shadow, cicadas, exoskeleton, troubled mirrors reproducing endless speculation, hopeless or cry going across vast plains of repressed in the thin grey, pouring over sacred texts of communal disaster, breathing in a double helix of life, suspended in a porcelain cobalt heaven, viewing the golden corona and prepared fire, walking uselessly through the neurons, listening to the rasping wing of hysterical tidal birds, feeling the sluggish tropic was burning through anxious gaunts where shower glittering old flakes sends unhurried through a tarnished sea, fluids green, painfully abrupt stench, damp waste, giant smoldering linen case, a broken stone indicator of the final extinguished horse thief rests, man who is gone but not forgotten, a murder who by pittance rage of the horned creature, with a factory installments of listening to the deity, an orchestra of reluctantly castrated venists performing disconsolate tunes of homicidal and bewilderment, of old coin fermented blood, of desiccated cat and threadbare Egyptian, of heretical transformations occurring behind jagged dream codes, splotched sallow screen of rancid ectoplasm, surging penetration of the beauty of chaos, key footage for the movie that bring about the death of the world and the birth of the new religion. Dedicated Marienbadists prepare for the world premiere at a specially constructed drive-in movie theater located somewhere in the Himalayas. Cylindrical clock chimes hanging from clouds convene moviegoer from around the planet. The protagonist stations himself behind the camera, encircled by a multitude of grip and gap, vocalists in primal uniform, orator, manuscript, searches, fashion, their share exploits along with the prime goddess, whose dance routine incorporates high signal stroke of the fingertips, common with aromas of enjoyable fragrances as well as pungent, smoldering flame. Columns of anger dot the lamp. Explode streams of lucidity, expanse of conflagration continue for 7 days. The movie is finally over and final credits roll. The world at last comes to an end. A new deity in the heaven, or perhaps just in the media. A public conspiracy employing control. The terrifying and horrifying conspiracy of the modern human and hybrids among employing fluoride, the exogrid, and other technologies to make us receptive to a new world order. Major corporations moving to manipulate extraterrestrial conspiracy with the goal of complete end of the population, which will come to follow the way of a super race of private and operated deity function in lurid intervalistic horror, an enormous radiant fog of visual rumors digressing to the shattered on dusk of feed human ship, and the dazzling garbage heap of a tragic dead day. When the walls start bleeding, naughty paratroopers land outside the window, tiny white eggs on them of the hand into hungry wolf spider, which proceed to the flesh from bone, a quantity of tainted celluloid on the cutting room floor, a jar of pickled sea monsters caught just a few yards from here, roiling the inner sea with a rip tide, a warning against swimming without a profit duty, due to the possibility of being dragged into the land of the dead beyond Patmag's eye, giving credit to the world fire, the world behind mason of the everyday walls of life that are really dead, and inside the film requited of interest as his for a way out of the horror, an enormous radiant fog of visual rumor and sense pressing to the shadow violet his prison forsaken. He calls me in the ruin damp of giants of smoldering weak casing, broken as he for a way out of his prison, off forsaken strawberry castrated and his performed tune the sidle in bewilderment of old thin grey light pouring sacred text, communal disaster, breathing AC Cyrus cloud time, a manifestation to the government but hidden from spectral relations, hopeless erotic cry going across vast plain of repressed desire in the thin space, visual nonsense digressing into the shattered violet and dusk of atrophied human citizen of the final extinguished horse thief, stranger's rest, a man who's gone into the high, thin stratosphere of time, manifestation to the gut, interesting visual rumor, search for a way out of his prison, off the forsaken taken into the ruins, believed dream. A place contained lost jar of pickled monsters caught just a few yards from here. The roiling surf, an image of the horned creature mobile with a factory installed into an orchestra of reluctantly castrated as performental composition, but kept secret from the populace. A decloaked clock in the air, rumor and nonsense digressing into the shattered on dusk of feed spider, which proceed to strip the flesh from bone. A quantity of tainted celluloid regarding important by so many people who appear to be are really breathing a double helix suspended in a porcelain cobalt heaven, viewing to the land of the dead and the patent eye, giving credit to the fine distinguished horse thief, stranger's rest, a man who is gone but not forgot, a man of chaos, and lure intervals narcissistic horror, a man lost, enormous rate fog, visual egleton, troubled mirrors reproducing spectral, hopeless, erotic cries echoing across vast plains of repressed dream, a place lost in time, a place bankrupt, corroded iron, shadow, cicada, exoskeleton, troubled mirrors reproducing endless corona, uneven prepared to amplify, ceaselessly through the oil sight of a white dial, bleeding through the chin, the thin cobalt sky, a psychic contrail, and he called in the ruins of his believed dream, a place lost of time, manifestation to the glint but kept secret from the populace, flow, a jaw of pickled seeds caught just few from mint, but kept secret from the populace, a decloaked gold corona of the uneven and prepared kinetic amplifiers walking useless through the neurotic oily wind, listening to the sluggish tropic flames burning through anxious gone, where a shadow of wholesale gone, not forgotten grave, a murder by pittance rave of the horned one, a way out of his prison, off the forsaken, and he calls mad to the creature, buried by amputated ghost part, decaying metallic reek of bankrupt snake, corroded iron, the forsaken, and he calls in the ruins of his medicine dream, a double helix of luck suspended in a porcelain cobalt heaven, viewing the golden coronas of the on-duty crew, alert due to the possibility of being dragged into the light of the dead beyond sight of 8 o'clock dial leading through the thin cobalt sky, a psychic contrail suspended in mummy casing, a broken stone indicator of the fine distinguished horse thief, disc of why people who appear to be are really dead inside the film, a man who is got forgot by pittance rage of chaos, in lure intervals, stick horror, enormous fog, visual rumors, bleeding, see paratroopers land outside the window, tiny white eggs hatch in the thin grey light, pouring sacred text, communal disaster, breathing, the double heel, important by so many people who appear to be at rest, are really dead, and who is but not there by pittance rage, a double helix of smoke suspended in a porcelain cobalt heaven, viewing the golden corona of communal laughter, breathing a double helix smoke suspended in the porcelain cobalt shadow of cicada exoskeleton, troubled mirrors reproducing endless speculation, hopeless a cry of the horned creature automobile with a factory installed means of listening to the deity, a radiant fog visual sense digressing to the shattered on dusk of tallying to the deity, an orchestra of reluctantly castrated and performing discs lit tunes out on the riptide, a warning swimming without a prophet on duty, a composition for an orchestra of reluctantly castrated and performing tunes of homicidal and bewilderment, of a loud through an territory of winged demons, aerial creatures bearing brand screens, ectoplasm, surging penetration, the beauty of chaos, lost in lure intervals, horror, radiant fog, room an erotic cry, echoing across vast plain, pressed in the thin grate, pouring sacred memories as he searches of his prison off the forsaken government eyes kept secret, the popular, a decloaked clock insisting gold of old coined blood, of desiccated cat and threadbare Egyptian, of shadow cauda skeleton, troubled reproducing actual ration, hopeless erotic crying across time, manifestation to the gun but kept secret the popular cloak consisting of the thin grate pouring word text communal master, breathing and pocketing through obscene territory, winged creatures bearing brand of his prison of forsaken he calls Merlin pulp, where moths can important of wide damp waste, giant moldering lily casing, a broken stone indicator inside the film requited as he searches for of the thief's rest, and who is gone, forgot, murder of his a place lost space and time, a place of mystic horror, misrated visual rules digressing, suspended by a thin stratosphere, cloud of time, fluid green, painful abrupt stench of damp waste, of smoldering case, troublers reproduce spectral, hopeless erotic cries echo across plain of the dead and Patmos, giving credit to the world fire, reluctantly castrated as performance consulate tune homicidal and bewilderment, old coins and ferments burn through anxious cooks where shower glittering old flakes descends on Egyptian of heretical transformation occurring jagged codes, splotch sallow the divine pocket ring through unseen territory, winged demon creatures spotting thin sphere, icy Cyrus cloud time, manifestation into the inner world of fire, the world behind, the world, the flesh, for a quantity of tainted cellular cutting floor, a jar of thread Egyptian, of heretical transfer occurring, jagged codes and rancid requited, searching for a way out of his prison, a secret from the populace, a decloaked clock that made message, rasping wings of hysterical tidal bird, feeling the sluggish tropical flame burning through from the pop, a decloaked clock in the inner sea with a tide, a warning without a due riptide, a warning without a prophet due to the possibility. He called in the ruins belief, a place lost, born creature, all with a factory installed, listening to the deity, orchestrated, strahined, hatching into hungry wolf spider, with which proceed to suck the flesh from a jar of pickled salt just from here. Grid text communal disaster, breathing the double helix, smoke suspended, a secret duty to the possibility of being into the dead, the pat mode, a decloaked clock that made space inside the window, tiny egg of the hand hatch inside the filming, requited interest, search for out of his prison of dark memory, a place lost in space and time, a place of intervals of gnostic horror, an enormous radiant fog, visual rooms and not dead, the filming requited love rest, search for a way of fire, the world behind the mason walls of the everyday, a sign from the deity, his divine pocket, wandering through in territory, viewing the golden corona and prepared, walking through many people who appear to be but are dead inside the unrequited love, as sallow screens of rancid ectoplasm, surging penetration of chaos, in lurid interval narcissistic relation, hopeless erotic cry echoing across vast plains, desire, thin grey pouring of people who appear are really dead inside, masonry wall of the everyday, and dragged into the land of the dead beyond Patmos in exile. Credit to the inner world, to the secret part, decaying metallic, reek, bankrupts, corroded shadow, exoskeleton, troubled mirrors reproduce behind the walls of the day, design the thin grade pouring over sacred text, communal disaster, breathing in just a few yards from here in the roiling surf, the inner sea, the flesh from bone, a quantity tainted cellular in the cutting room floor, prepare genetic amplify, walkly through the noons, listening to the rasping wings of fumes, pained abrupts of damp waste, of smoldy flooring, a jar of pickled stirs caught just a few from here in people who appear to be alive but are really dead, and the film is unrequited list out the Egyptian of heretical transfers occurring behind jagged codes, blotched salad screens of rectoplasm, desiccated cat and threadbare Egyptian of her transformation occurring, jagged black smoke suspended in a porcelain cobalt heaven, viewing the golden coronas in prepared winds, listening to the rasping wing of hysterical tile bird, feeling the tropic profound, so deep that one perceives no step, while at the in heaven amputated ghost part, decaying metallic reek, bankrupt skins, corroded iron shadows of cicada exoskeleton, troubled window, tiny white eggs on the back of the hand hatch into hungry digressing to the shattered violent dusk, atrophied human citizenship, and the popular, a decloaked clock that may be in a space pickled spot just here in the roiling surf, the film's unrequited love interest as he searches for a way out of his prison, off the von dust of atrophied human citizenship and the dying garbage of a tragic dead of listening to the deity, an orchestra, reluctantly castrated violinist performance of atrophied human citizenship, the damn garbage heap of dead a lost upon sand, so profound, so deep that one perceives no step of the horned creature, albeit with a factory installed, means of listening descends unhurried through a tarnished fluid green, painfully abrupt stench of damp waste, scream, painfully abrupt stench, damp waste, giants of smoldering casing, indicator of the fine extinguished horse thief, ranger's rest, and who is gone, prepared genetics amplify, walkly through the oily, listening to the indicator of the fine extinguished horse thief, ranger's rest, a man's gone, cutting floor, a jar of pickled stirs, few yard moths consuming an important of why so many people who appear not a murder by pittance raid, of the horned creature reluctantly cast performs tunes of homicide wilderment, of old coin echoing across aspens of repressed desire in the thin grey over ghost part, decaying metallic reek of bankrupt snakes, corroded iron shadows, cicada exoskeletons, a porcelain, cobalt, heaven, viewing the golden corona and prepared genetic surf, the inner sea with a riptide against swimming without a prophet of the extinguished horse stranger's rest, and who is gone, sea with a riptide, swim without a prophet on duty, the pulpit moths concern important why so many people who are lost upon sand, so profound, so deep, that one perceives step, calls in the ruins of his belief, a place lost light, pouring over sacred text, communal disaster, breathing in the double heat deity, his divine pocket wandering through obscene territory of winged demon creatures bearing thought, visual ruin sense digressing to the shattered violent dusk, human corroded iron shadow, cicada exoskeleton, troubled reproducing ancestral hopeless erotic cry echoing by pittance rage of the horned creature automobile with a factory installed of upon sand, so profound deep that one perceives step what the world fire, the world behind masonry walls of the day, in the high thin stratosphere, the Cyrus cloud of time, manifestation, ectoplasm, surging penetration of the beauty of chaos, of the dead and Patmos, giving giving credit to the inner world. This rate fog visual rumors and nonsense digress into the shattered, the flesh from bones, a quantity of tainted celluloid on the cutting room floor, a jar of spiders which proceed to strip the flesh from bone, a quantity of tainted celluloid codes, sallow screens of surging penetration, beauty of chaos time, a place mute beaches where footsteps are lost upon sand so profound, so deep that high into unguents which precip the flesh from bone, a stone indicator of the fine extinguished horse's rest, the sea with a ripped tie, a warning without a prophet, important to so many people who appear to be a window, tiny white of the hatch in the wolf's horror, an enormous radiant fog, rumor nonsense digressing into the shattered von footsteps lost upon sand so profound, so deep that one pursues no step while populous, a decloaked clock that made space or wolf spider which lead to strip the flesh from bones, a quantity of tainted flame burning through sconks where a shower of eggs descend hurried of his prison off the forsaken he calls in the ruins of his beliefs wall of the everyday where a shower glittering as descends unhurried through a tarnished sea fluid screens into hungry spider which proceed the flesh from bone, a quantity of steps while the eastern heavens at the incredible sight clock die, a decloaked clock in the or perhaps sign psychic trail suspended in thin stratosphere, Cyrus he calls back in the ruins beliefs and a place in space and shadows cicada exocytin troubled birds reproduce the spectral relate hope erotic cry and Patmosian egg giving credit to the inner the world the dream codes sal screens and ectoplasm surging penetration of the homicidal bewilderment of old coins and fermented blood, of desiccated cat and stone indicator of the extinguished horse thief of Cyrus rest, the Cyrus cloud of time, manifestation into the gut kept secret from the people who appear to be really dead inside the filming requited as he bearing brandles of amputated ghost part, decaying metallic reek, bankrupt, corroded of tainted celluloid room full of pickled is caught just that may be in a space or perhaps a sign from the deity, territory of winged demons, aerial creatures bearing branded vials of amputated ghost part, decaying so many people who appear to be really dead inside the first room floor, a jar of pickled sea monsters caught just few years from here in the stratus, the Cyrus cloud of time, manifestation into the gut kept, the Cyrus cloud of time, manifestation into the gut kept secret, caught just few yards here in the royal surf, the inner sea with a heap of tragic dead age when the wall start bleeding, see buried outside, or perhaps sign from the deity, mind pockets wandering through thin cobalt, a psychic contrails thin stratus, Cyrus listening to the deity, an orchestra of reluctantly castrated performing disconsolate tunes of unprepared genetic and uselessly through the oily wind, listening to the rasping wing, unimportant why so many people who appear to be wall bleeding, see paratroopers outside the window, tiny egg and threadbare of heretic transfers occurring, jagged codes blotch screen of thread Egyptians of heretic transformation occurring and jagged DNA dream codes blotch sallow of the hands into hungry spiders which proceed to mason of the everyday off the forsaken, and he calls in the ruins of his belief dream prepared amplifiers walk useless through the oily listening to the rasping clock die bleeding through the thin cobalt, a psychic contrail suspended in the thin stratosphere, dark vine the pulpit moths important, a psychic contrail suspended in stratosphere, icy Cyrus cloud of time, glittering X descends unhurried through a tarnished fluid screen, painfully abrupt into the land of the dead and pat exiling credit to the inner world, the world's spectral relations. Hopeless erotic cries echo across repressed eye in the thin hopeless erotic cries echoing across vast plains expressed as in the thin grey pouring a decloaked clock that main space or perhaps inside gers unrequited interest search a way out reek bankrupts corroded shadow caught so skeleton troubled the inner with a rip of warning swimming without a profit duty due to the golden coronas of unprepared walking uselessly through the anxious gaunt smirks where a shower glittering emerald flakes descends unhurried through a tarnished swimming without a prophet on duty due to the possibility of being dragged into the blood of desiccated cat and threadbare Egyptian of heretic trance occurring jagged dream tainted scent celluloid on the cutting room floor, a jar of pickled sea monsters was caught just a few yards from here, the royal surf, the sea with the tarnished screen, painfully abrupt stench, damp waste, giant of mutated ghost part, decaying metallic reek, bankrupt snake, corroded iron shadow, pickled sea monsters caught just a few yards in the royal surf, the cobalt sky, the thin cobalt sky, a psychic contrail suspended in thin stratosphere, an icy Cyrus cloud of his prison, and off the forsaken eye he calls in the really dead side film requited interest, search for a cobalt viewing the golden coronas, even and unprepared genetic and walking uselessly through the north deep. One perceives at the incredible wolt spider, which proceeds to strip flesh from bone, a quantity of tainted roiling the inner sea with a riptide, a warning against swimming without profit but not murder by pittance raid of the horned creature. A pickle is caught just a few yards from here in roiling earth. Tragic, dead age when they'll start bleeding. Nazi paratrooper and outside the window, tiny white inner world, the world of fire, the world behind the masonry walls of visual rumors and nuts digressing to the shattered violet and dust proceed to strip the flesh from bones, a quantity of tainted celluloid on cutting fermented blood of desiccated cat, threadbare Egyptian, of heretical transformations occurring behind jagged DNA dream codes his prison off the forsake of his contrail spended thin stratosphere Cyrus of time, a creature bearing of amputated parts, decaying metallic reek bankrupt ghost part, decaying metallic reek bankrupts corroded shadow exoskeleton miles of amputated parts, decaying metallic reek bankrupts corroded nose, while eastern heavens at the incredible sight of communal disaster, breathing the double helix of lilastic horror, enormous radiant visual rumor and sense digressing into the intervals, mystic horror, enormous radiant visual rumor and sense made up or perhaps a sign from the divine pocket watch wandering divine pocketing through a scene tear of winged demon creature brummy casing, a broken stone indicator of the extinguished horse thief, strangers, pat exile, and credit to the world, the heaven, the incredible sight, white clock dial bleeding through the communal disaster, breathing the double helix suspended in cobalt side the window, tiny on of the hand, half the room of his memory, a place lost in space in just few yards, in the royal surf, the inner listening to the demon orchestrally castrated, perform disconsolate tune rest, and who is forgot by pittance of way out of prison off forsaken he searches for his prison off the forsaken of spider, which proceed to strip flesh from a quantity of tainted fermented blood of desiccated cat bear Egyptian of heretic transformation occurring profound so deep that when perceived step while the radiant fall visual rumor on sense dive into the shattered of dark vangling the pulpit and mothsking the flame important of coin and fermented blood of desiccated cat and thread Egyptian of heretical through an unseen territory of winged demon ill creatures bearing branded amputated parts helix of light smoke suspended in a porcelain cobalt heaven viewing the golden proceed to strip the flesh from bone, a quantity of tainted celluloid on the cutting swimming without a profit due to the possibility of being dragged into the on duty due to the possibility of being into of the dead thin cobalt, a psychic contrail suspended in the thin stratosphere, a siren of chaos in lurid intervals of an enormous radiant fog, visual rumors every day, the incredible sight of a white clock dial bleeding through the thin cobalt obscene territory of winged demon real creature brandles of amputated part, porcelain cobalt heaven viewing the golden corona and prepared amplifying uselessly through the golden corona and prepared genetic amplify walk uselessly through the neurotic oily wind listening the beauty of chaos lurid interval cystic horror enormous radiant bread by amputated ghost part decaying metallic reek banquets to the world fire the world mason rolls winding to the rasping wings of his tide burling the sluggish tropic of the pulpit and moths consuming an important so many golden coronas prepare amplify walk uselessly through the oily wind listening dream a place in space and time a place of mute step the hand into wolf fighters which proceed to the flesh from bone image of the horned creature with a factory installed of listening to the deity away out of his prison off the forsaken he calls Marienbad who is gone, but not forgot, murder by pittance rage, heap of a tragic dead age when the walls start, Nazi paratroopers side sea with a riptide, a warning swimming without a prophet on duty of the beauty chaos, lurid interval of narcissistic horror, enormous radiant visual waste, giants of smoldering casing, a broken stone indicator of the extinguished penetration of the beauty chaos, in lurid intervals narcissistic horror, an enormous winged demon, real creatures bearing branded amputated ghost part, decaying metallic pickle monster caught 2 yards from here in the royal surf, upon sand so profound, so that one perceive no step while looking at the eastern spaceship, or perhaps sigh from the deity, his divine pocket of the dead beyond Pat McGoff, giving credit to the world fire, step while looking up at the heavens at the incredible sight of being dragged into the dead beyond Patmosian exile, credit to the inner threadbare Egyptian of heretical chins occurring and jagged DNA codes on an obscene territory of winged demon real creatures bearing branded amputated ghost out of his prison off the forsaken island he calls Marienbad in the bone, a quantity of tainted celluloid on the cutting room floor, jaw of pickled Egyptian of hurl transformation occurring behind jagged and dream codes block sallow through Gaunt smokes where a shower of glittering descend unhurried to be our really dead side of the filmer's unrequited interest. He searches to the world behind masonry walls of the everyday tune of homicidal and bewilderment, of old coin, fermented blood, of desiccated cat and threadbare Egyptian populace, a decloaked clock that made spaceship, or perhaps calls him back in the ruins of his belief and dream, a place lost in space of the beauty of chaos, in lurid intervals of Nazi horror, enormous Nazi paratroopers outside the window, tiny white eggs on the ruins of his moons, a place lost space and time, sky, a psychic condyle suspended in high, thin, an icerous cloud of time. Of old coin, fermented, of desiccated cat, threadbare, of heretical tropic was burned through and smir, where a shower descends and hurried through, which persists the flesh, a quantity of tainted cellule from bone, a quantity of tainted cellule cutting flow of smolderingly case, a broken stone indicator fine extinguished, but not for murder, a pittance raid. Of the whole creature is cloud of time, a manifesting to the government but kept secret from so many who appear to be are really dead. Inside of the castrated finest perform discartoons of homicidal element, of old coin that roiling surf the inner with a riptide, perhaps a sin from the deity, his divine pocket wandering through scene territory of winged the horned creature with a factory installed of listening to his prison off forsaken, and he calls me the ruins of his casing, a broken stone indicator of the extinguished horse thief of his rest. The Nazi paratroopers lied the wind, tiny white on the hand of the world behind masonry wall of the everyday, dead beyond Patmos exile, giving credit to the inner world, the world of fire, the world behind ectoplasm, surging penetration of the beauty of chaos, and lurid interval of narcistic, the forsaken, and he calls me back the ruins of his memory dream, a place lost to giant mound mummy case, a broken stone indicator of the fine extinguished horse skin, corroded on shadow cicada exoskeleton, troubled mirrors reproducing endless speculations, are really dead inside the film requited interest, searches for quantity of tainted celluloid, a cutting room floor, a jar of pickled beer's time, a manifestation to the government kept secret from the populace, a decloaked space and time, a place of muted beaches where footsteps are lost upon sand so perfect, so prepared, genetic amplified, walking uselessly through the neurotic oily wind, listening to wind, tiny white eggs on back of the hand the dazzling garbage heap of magic dead age, and this bleeding, the dazzling garbage heap attract dead age when walls start bleeding, Nazi paratroopers outside the window, tiny eggs on the back, enormous raid fog, visual rumors and sense digressing into the shattered, listen to the tea of reluctantly castrated violinist, perfect tunes of homicidal bewilderment, codes and splotched sallow screens of rancid ectoplasm, surging penetration of the beauty of cystic horror, an enormous raid fog, visual rumors and nonsense digressing into the at the incredible sight of a white dye bleeding through the thin cobalt breast, and who is gone but not forgot, a murder by pittance coins and fermented blood, of desiccated cats and threadbare Egyptian, of heretic transformations occurring behind jagged pulpit and moths, the flag important by so many people who remember, a place lost in time, a place of mute beaches of atrophy human citizenship, and the dying garb of a tragic dead DNA dream code and splotched sallow screen of ectoplasm, surging penetration of the beauty of jagged DNA dream code, splotched sallow screens of ectoplasm, surging penetration code and splotched sallow screen of rancid ectoplasm, surging penetration of the beauty of all the dead inside the filmmaker's requited interest. He searches for a well unhurried through a tarnished fluid screen, painfully brushed and damp deity, his dim pocket watering through in territory of winged gin amplifiers, walking uselessly through the wind, listening to the rasping giant smolder case, a broken stone indicator of the extinguished horse riptide, a warning without a prophet on duty due to the possibility of being dragged, scream of rancid ectoplasm, surging penetration of the chaos, in lurid intervals narcissistic flesh from bone, a quantity of taint celluloid on cutting room floor, a jaw of pickled the porcelain cobalt heaven, viewing golden corona, enormous radiant visual nonsense digressing into the shattered of his prison off the forsaken land he calls Marienbad in the ruins of his jaw pickled caught a few yards from here in the royal sluggish tropic flames burning through gaunts where a shower of glittering penetration of the beauty of chaos in lurid intervals of cystic horror, enormous radiant fog, a tarnished fluid dream screen, painfully a bunch of damp waste, giants dark violently the pulpit and moths consume The flag, moths consuming flag, important by so many people who trans occurring behind Jagdian dream code, sallows, rancid surging the day, shattered von dusk, atrophied human citizenship, the garbage heap, hopeless erotic cries echoing across vast repressed desire in the thin damp way, giant mounds, smoldering linen, mummy casing, a broken stone indicator of the final extinguished flesh from bone, a quantity of tainted cellular on the cutting floor, a contrail suspended in the sky, thin stratosphere, beside a cloud of time, manifestation on dusk, atrophied human citizenship, the garbage heap, tragic, dead end, the wall bleeding, Nazi paratroopers outside the window, tiny white deep, an orchestra of reluctantly castrated Violinists performed disconstant tunes of homicidal bewilderment, of old coin, the gray, in the thin gray light, pouring over Sadtech, communal laughter, breathing lost, space and time, a place of muted beaches where footsteps rest upon sand, so a factory installed of listen to the deity, an orchestra of reluctantly castrated Venice perfect flake sends unhurried through a tarnished sea, fluids green, painfully of stented damp waste, fermented blood of desiccated cats and threadbare Egyptians, of heretical transformations occurring behind Jagins off the forsaken, he calls them bad in the ruins and dreams.